If you clicked on this video, then you are likely starting college, or maybe you've already started college, and you just might be feeling a little unsure about, the experience. Starting college and that transition is definitely an interesting one. A lot of new variables at play, a lot of things changing. You're introduced to a lot of independence, living on your own for the first time. You're living with a roommate maybe for the first time. You're pretty much having to leave your whole group of friends that you had back home and create new ones. But the point is that it's just a very nerve-wracking time, and I'm going to my sophomore year at the University of Illinois, go Illini, and I had a very, very good freshman year, at least in my opinion. So I just wanted to share some things that I thought were super helpful in just making that transition from high school to college. The very first thing I wanted to talk about is uncertainty. Uncertainty is guaranteed. You are going to feel uncertain about people, about your classes, about professors, about your social life, about extracurricular activities. And this is a completely normal way to feel. You're, like I already said, you're adjusting to a completely new environment. You're not going to know what's going on, and it may seem like everybody else around you is adjusting super well and super quickly, and they already have like all these tight-knit group of friends. They're already involved in a bunch of stuff. And I want you to know that it's okay if that's what it seems like, but like that group of friends, I promise you, they either know them from high school or they literally just met them 2 days ago. But the point is that when you feel uncertain about things, just remember that everybody else around you is in the exact same boat. And this is something that I heard pretty frequently. I never really just I guess it never clicked in my head that like this person that's sitting next to me in this class is also in the same position where I am, where it's like we're both completely new. And it can take a lot of adjusting, but pretty much what this means is like you just have to take that first step to really step out of your social comfort zone. So for example, at the dining hall, I did this several times in the first few weeks of school, but you are going to have to like just sit down next to a stranger and just say like, hey, do you mind if I sit here? Start up a conversation, feel out their vibe, maybe connect with them on Instagram or Snapchat or like just their phone number. And trust me, this is a super daunting thing. I'm not saying that it's easy, but it definitely gets easier the more and more you do it. And I'm really just keeping that in your mind that like this person is also new to this school. This person is in the exact same position I am. Just keeping that in my mind was super useful in just taking that first step and stepping out of my social comfort zone. But the big thing I want to talk about when it comes to uncertainty is, not letting it limit your experience. Right when my parents left and they dropped me off and I realized that I was on my own for the first time, and I was pretty much asking myself like, what do I do now? You're in this new place with all these new people. It can be a very, very easy thing to do to just sit in your dorm room and not go explore. And my big thing is I don't want you to do that, because when you do that, you're pretty much telling yourself it's okay to let this uncertainty overwhelm you and let it control what you're going to do in college. A lot of schools have welcome week events, and they may seem a little cringy and they may seem a little boring, but I highly, highly, highly recommend that you go to those. I went to bingo, and I think I went to like some giant board game where they had like giant Uno cards or something like that. And even though it seems a little like pretty like a kid thing, whatever, everybody else there was in the exact same boat that I was. They're just going out and trying to meet new people. And so if you would have let that uncertainty keep you in your dorm room and keep you from, going out and meeting these new people, then it's just going to limit your experience, and you don't want to do that. The next thing that I want to talk about is involvement. And involvement is a super, super important thing. Obviously, education comes first, school comes first, grades come first. But, like I said, you don't want to limit your experience. You don't want to limit your college experience purely to academics. Getting involved is an excellent way to meet new people that are like-minded, people that have the same interests, hobbies, passions as you. It's also a great way to develop yourself professionally. One rule that I kind of had for myself, and I think is a great rule, is join two things. One thing should be like related to your major, so something professional. So whether that be like a professional business fraternity if you're a business major, or like a business club, a finance or accounting club, or if you're an engineer, joining an engineering club. And then the second one can literally just be whatever. For me, I joined a consulting org, and I joined the club boxing team, same thing. And I had a really good experience with both of those, gained a lot of new skills, a lot of new knowledge, but what I gained from it was completely different. Now, obviously, boxing, very physical thing, very mentally draining thing. Consulting, very professional, very personal development sort of thing. But point is that I met a lot of cool people. I developed myself physically in a space that I was, something that I was really interested in. And then I also developed myself professionally. Obviously, it's going to do numbers for me when it comes to finding internships, and then hopefully, let down the line a future job. Now, there's one last thing that I want to talk about, and it's a very simple thing, and that is family. Stay in touch with your parents, stay in touch with your siblings. You're going to have a lot going on, especially those first few weeks of college. It can seem very easy to forget about what you had back home, but I really want to advise you to make an effort to stay in touch with these people. You have to remember the situation they're in. They are in a house now that they have lived in for, assuming you start college at 18, they've lived in this house with this person for 18 years, and now that person is suddenly gone. It can seem like you have so much going on that it may feel hard to just remember to reach out, but they are going to always feel like something is missing at their house. And so by putting in that little extra bit of effort to just make a 5-minute call every other day or once every 3 days, something like that, and just keep them involved, keep them updated with what you're doing. You don't have to sit on the phone for an hour every single day, but just make that little extra bit of effort to let them know that, like, hey, I'm still thinking about you. This is what I'm doing. I want to keep you involved. That will go, miles with keeping your relationship healthy with these people that are super important in your life. That pretty much wraps it up. I hope this video was very helpful. If you are nervous about starting college, it's okay to feel nervous, but you got this. I believe in you. I hope you've had a good college experience so far. If you haven't started college, good luck. You're going to do great. If you made it to the end, I appreciate it. Stay positive, stay safe.